Yeah, we fudged that one up. Well, I'll keep the botch in there, by the way. I forgot to turn on my microphone at this moment, for this moment in time. Let's keep that botch in there and start right from the get-go again. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle, the wrestling video podcast. I run over here on youtube.com / it's still UC Campbell, still working on things like that at this moment in time. We are still getting a little bit ready over here with everything, readjusting the microphone, and this is going to be a episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle, kind of a special one. It's more of a GodSaw's Turnbuckle extra, and it is for WWE Backlash 2018. And much like the beginning of this episode for me, it's kind of not good. It was not a great show. We'll leave it much at that one. There was a lot left to be desired about this show. Not a very good Backlash. Some very entertaining moments in there. Let's not get it wrong. I will answer the question right here, right now, though. Get that off camera. We'll answer the question right here, right now. Was this the worst pay-per-view of the year? I think so. I do think so. But I also found myself thoroughly entertained in certain areas as well, to go along with it. I value my entertainment based off of things that I was doing. And honestly, if you watch the live reactions a little bit later when I put them up here on YouTube, they're over on my Twitch page right now. You definitely saw us get bored in certain areas, as Batman is back with a vengeance on this one in the chat as usual, and I'm back with a vengeance as well, trying to do a little bit more of this. I've taken a bit of a break recently, and I'm trying to get myself back into it. I think I wanted to do a full episode, full GodSaw's Turnbuckle episode, where we go through Raw, SmackDown, everything on that side. Batman is rolling the chat the entire time here. Yes, he is. I am and forever will be Batman forever. Yes, he is. And he is my hero of the chat, in the chat cave. Well, you know what? Let's roll with that. We're going to call our chat the chat cave for when I'm doing the live streams, which is what's going on right now for people who are watching this a little bit later. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into it fully here. Backlash, it was probably the worst pay-per-view of the year. Let's be 100% honest and fair about it. But like I said, my entertainment things, and you'll see this, my value of entertainment is based off of a lot of different factors, and I was thoroughly entertained throughout a good portion of the show, to go along with it. Mainly because we were doing live reactions. I had a couple of my buddies, and we were just kind of sitting there joking around a good portion of the time. But also the let's leave it to this though. I don't know about this. We were bored in a good portion of it, to go along with it as well, and I think you'll probably see that, like I said before, when you see live reactions come up on the channel a little bit later today. I am going to put up the entire thing, which was pretty much the entire show. So let's kick it off right into it. Oddly enough, one of the better matches of the night happened on the kickoff show, to go along with everything. Yeah, that's right, really, to say it. They probably had one of the better matches, not the best match, but one of the better matches on the kickoff show, with Bayley and Ruby Riott. They did do a little skit beforehand. They did a couple of decent skits, actually, during the kickoff show. One with Bayley and Sasha Banks, basically kind of re-incentifying that Bayley was going to be on her own for this match. Dialogue, I wish, was a little bit better between her and Sasha Banks, but, you know, it kind of is what it is in that case. And in all fairness to that section, you're kind of still getting that vibe with Bayley and Sasha. Yes, we want them to have a distinct babyface and a distinct heel at this point in time, but they don't. They still leave you questioning, who is the babyface? Who is the heel? Still kind of interested. It looks like they're trying to hold off on everything. until a later date. I feel like you're going to get the heel turn from either one of them, either sometime around Money in the Bank or the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. I feel like the first big one-on-one match between the two of them is going to probably... I think they're aiming for SummerSlam. I don't know. I think in some cases I could definitely see how some people are kind of like, come on, get on with this, but otherwise I feel like they've been doing a decent enough job with that portion of it. They also did a pretty good segment backstage with the Miztourage and Miz, where both Alice and Curtis Axel were going through is like, who should we try teaming up with next? Who should we go with this? They're kind of going through a list of people. It would be interesting if they turned Bayley. I'm not going to lie to you, Batman. It would be interesting if they turned Bayley, but I still feel like they're going to go Sasha at this point in time. But, like I said, could be interesting. But you also had this segment backstage with the Miztourage, or Boathouse Curtis Axel, like I said, going through a list of people they wanted to go through. Miz comes in all confident. That saying is like, I like exactly what you guys have been doing. You've been playing these guys from the get-go, and now you're going to help me out with my match against Seth Rollins later to open up the show. And Miztourage's like, basically told him to just go away. Just go away. We're not the Miztourage anymore. We're looking for our next people that we're going to end up helping at that point in time, and Miz basically got told off at that point. So the match with Ruby Riott and Bayley on the kickoff show, like I said, was probably one of the better matches of the night. Not the best. That one actually opened Backlash, which we'll talk about here in a few moments. But it was pretty much a good case of the numbers game. Bayley would get a little bit of control. Eventually, Riot Squad would kind of interfere and interject themselves, so Ruby would continue having the control of the match. Bayley would fight back a bit, and you had about a good 9-10 minute match between the two of them that had some good back and forth and told a decent enough story, with Ruby Riott eventually going over and hitting Bayley with a Riot Kick after some help from Liv Morgan to set up the moment. Decent enough match, and like I said, it seemed like the two of them, put some effort behind this match to go along with it, which is a little bit hard to say about some of these other matches that happened on Backlash. But up next was the opening match for Backlash, which was absolutely fantastic. It was a great match between Miz and Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental title. Basically, a good chunk of the story was Miz working over the knee after Seth Rollins tried doing the Revolution knee on the outside and then misses and hits the ring post with it, and a continuation of working over the knee. Both of them good back and forth throughout the entire match, kind of giving you that little feeling. It's like, are they going to do it? Are they going to do something extremely interesting with this moment? And what is it? Actually do something interesting and switch the Intercontinental title. It's like, wait a minute, but that means they'll have both titles on SmackDown. It ended up not being the case, but the two of them, with very good sequences and back and forth throughout the match, I thought told a good story and teased the factor of maybe they were going to switch the title over to SmackDown very well. I mean, Miz does hit 2 skull-crushing finales that Seth Rollins does kick out of. Miz was countering the curb stomp, and he even countered the Falcon Arrows attempt after the superplex, getting a figure 4 into the on the injured knee as well. Well, kind of. He did put the pressure on the wrong knee based on how it's supposed to work, if you really look at it, but you get the aspect of the story that they're trying to do there. And you had a good sequence between the two of them reversing the hold, and it was like Seth Rollins reversing the hold, and Miz being stuck in it with the pressure on himself to go along with it, reversing it again to eventually get to the ropes. So you had some very good sequences in here. The ending sequence was great, where you had a series of roll-ups that led to Seth Rollins eventually countering out of one and then hitting the curb stomp on the Miz to pick up the victory in what was an extremely good match and a very good way of opening the show. Too bad for, let's be fair, too bad for a good portion of it. It started up way up here and then kind of went downhill afterwards. Downhill for the rest of the evening with Up next being what was it? Slipping my mind for a brief moment. It was Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss that came up next, and the match was fine. It really it was very reminiscent of the match that they had at WrestleMania, and a lot of people felt like it's one of those things that they needed to kind of maybe go a different route about it, and maybe have it be more of a quicker match or this or that. It ended up being a lot of the same, where Alexa was doing a good portion of the offense in the match, countering Samoan drops when Nia continually went for it, and they did have a really wicked spot with Nia being on the second rope, and Alexa Bliss pushes her out of the ring. She comes crashing down pretty hard, and then they do a bit where Alexa hits the DDT on Nia on the steel steps as well. She can't get Nia back in the ring, goes in to break up the count, but before she rolls back out, the ref starts counting again. It was kind of a little bit weird with what they were doing there. It was a little bit weird, not gonna lie on that one. But I mean, overall, it was decent enough. It was a decent enough match. A lot of these matches, I'm not gonna say were absolutely atrocious. It was just kind of the feeling of the night throughout, the feeling of the rest of the night throughout the entire show. And the ending does see Alexa Bliss get caught doing the Twisted Bliss, and then Nia puts her into a Samoan drop to pick up the victory. Like I said, decent enough match. Nia goes over, proper way of doing it. She does cut a promo that was very PSA heavy afterwards about basically about the Be a Star campaign, which in the end kind of is what they needed to do with this one, because they've been playing this off, and they've been playing it off really well with Alexa Bliss, where she was continually calling Nia the bully, while she was subsequently bullying Nia throughout the entire segments. And that was great. That was great, Batman. It's like, it was PSA, directly heard from Batman himself. He was giving the PSA about bullies. The more you know. The more you know. Or G.I. Joe. If you remember old cartoons to go along with that, on that side of everything. But yeah, very PSA heavy, kind of where they needed to go with it based off of the message that they were conveying throughout the whole thing, and I think it did what it needed to do. Basically on that one, Nia did get booed a little bit on this one, but they were also very she was still way over with pretty much most of that crowd to go along with it. Up next, though, was Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton, and yeah, this was a match. It's fair enough, decent enough match. It was a match. Randy Orton seems a little bit checked out, not to the levels that Alberto Del Rio was during his last run in WWE, but you could kind of tell it's like, all right, let's do this. Let's go out there. I'm going to deliver this beautiful looking drop kick. Just, ho hum, whatever. I can do this. But like I said, decent enough match. Very extensive amount of rest holds in this match as well. With eventually Matt Hart, or not Matt. Well, Woken Matt was nowhere to be found on this pay-per-view to go along with it. But with eventually Jeff Hardy hitting the Twist of Fate and a brutal-looking Swanton Bomb to pick up the victory. And like I said, fair enough match. Kind of boring. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie to you, but fair enough. But up next was probably one of the best segments of the night. Yeah, it was probably one of the best segments of the night. By far, we had match of the night with Seth Rollins and Miz. The segment that they did here with Elias, and then eventually New Day coming out. So Elias wanted to start singing. Has JoJo introduce him. The New Day comes out. They start with like, we want to walk with Elias. It's like, nah, I'm a solo act. He kind of shoves them off and then has them turn the lights back down and has JoJo reintroduce him. gets interrupted by Aiden English, brings out Rusev. Rusev Day chants for everybody because it is Rusev Day. There we go. It's Rusev Day. And of course, Elias kind of brushes that one off. Has the lights go back down again. JoJo reintroduces him again. And immediately gets interrupted by No Way Jose, and the Congo line comes out. Fun enough stuff. I love the whole aspect of you had not only the traditional Congo line, but you had Titus Worldwide come out, and then you also had Breezango come out to be a part of it. It was fun. We were pretty much dying of laughter the entire time, and he basically tried to brush that one off as like, stop with the Congo lines. And if I get interrupted one more time, this was a really good. You even had a little bit earlier before the interruptions happened, where he was doing this bit. It's like, am I gonna leave? Cheers. Not leaving. Booze. Cheers. Booze. Good. Elias had pretty much everybody in the palm of his hand here to go along with it, about giving him some nuclear heat throughout the entire bit. So he interrupts the Congo line and basically has JoJo reintroduce him again. I love this whole continuous aspect that he has to continually be reintroduced after each interruption. It was a very nice little touch to it, and I thought it was a good way of going. So immediately as he's about to go again and start singing again, all of a sudden you hear the piano go off. Glorious Bobby Roots shows up from behind. Glorious DDT as everybody congos out to No Way Jose's music to go along with it. Decent enough stuff. I liked it. It was very enjoyable. This was extremely enjoyable, and I thought it came off really, really good. Very good segment. It maybe went on a little bit too long, but very good segment. I enjoyed it. Good. It was good entertainment. Up next, we had, I believe, Daniel Bryan going up against Big Cass, and fair enough match. Again, this is a good enough match. Good selling from Daniel Bryan throughout the match to extensify Big Cass's offense throughout the entire match. It does go to show that Big Cass does have a little ways to go before he's going to be considered really, really good inside of his matches. He did not come off all that good inside of this one, but it was good enough. You know what? Let's get this thing over here. You'll never catch Batman inside of No Way Jose's line. Fair enough. I don't think Batman needs to be in a Congo line. That one, no. But during this match, like I said, with Big Cass, decent enough offense. He does come off looking very weak in this match, though, because of the factor that not only did he deliver a good chunk of offense in there, but when he does get put into the yes lock, not only did he tap out quickly, you have this other extensive little bit, if you really recognize it, that Daniel Bryan has to make it seem like Big Cass is trying to block it while Big Cass is literally doing nothing. And he's trying to help Big Cass, like, struggle. It's almost like you gotta struggle to let me lock this in, when Big Cass literally sat there, practically did nothing. And as soon as the yes lock was put in, boom, tap out, match over. Like I said, match was fine enough. It came off okay, but it definitely shows that Big Cass has a little ways to go. Big Cass does get his heat back after the match by beating down Daniel Bryan a little bit more, and it was what it was. It was a decent enough beatdown afterwards, and like I said, it gets Big Cass's heat back a little bit. So it did what it needed to do at that particular point in time. But again, another match that was kind of it was there. Up next, you had Charlotte going up against Carmella for the SmackDown Women's title, and let's be 100% fair on this one. It was again a decent enough match with a interesting ending. It did what it needed to do, at least in my mind. they needed to do something in this match that would get Charlotte out of the title picture for a little while. You're kind of hoping that it would mean that she has to get out of the title picture because she has something more important to do. But it ended out being a clean victory, and a fluky clean victory to go along with it. Now, it doesn't necessarily make Charlotte look massively weak in the match in this one by losing cleanly because of the way they did it, but you were kind of expecting a little bit more interference, I guess, with this one. It does put over Carmella strong. She gets a clean victory, so it incentivizes her title victory over Charlotte by cashing in Money in the Bank, by defending it against Charlotte in the next match. But you got this whole aspect of like, I was kind of expecting something a little bit different there, but they gave us something like this, and I guess it was all right. I guess it was fine. I thought it did what it needed to do in that sense. It gets Charlotte out of the title picture because, well, in this case, she lost cleanly, so we need a new number one contender at that point. But the ending of the match, where yes, you had Carmella pretty much in control a good chunk of the match to go along with it. And also really good spot in there where she did a counter to Charlotte that put her into that allowed Carmella to put the code of silence in, which I thought was really good. It was a really well done and told spot inside of that match. But with the ending of the match, it was Charlotte going up to do the moonsault. Carmella gets out of the way. Charlotte lands on her feet, tweaks her knee, like injures her knee, and she does play it up even more after the match to go along with it. Carmella does a kick that goes, I guess, was supposed to go to the knee, but it was kind of more of the hamstring at that point in time, and rolls her, stacks her up, basically rolls her up, and victory. It was one of those kind of roll-ups, like, okay, that's actually harder to kick out of. But don't get me wrong on that one. It's not like it was just like an easy, like one of those simple roll-ups or anything to go along with that. But picks up the victory cleanly. This does come off the whole aspect of Charlotte just beating Asuka's undefeated streak and everything to go along with it, but she can't beat Carmella. She gets out-thinked in this one. I'm not saying that's bad by any stretch of the imagination. You're just kind of, with the way they were telling the story, going into this match, you know, Carmella teaming up with the Iconics and everything on that, so you kind of expected a little bit different than what they ended up giving us. It was like the story they told us in the match didn't match the story they had been telling us going forward, and that's probably one of the things that they've, like, in the terms of these matches tonight, was where are they going with here? Like, where was the whole dissension? Where was this or where was that? Like, the stories that they were telling in the ring weren't necessarily matching the ones they've been telling us for the last few weeks. They didn't make sense. And this one didn't necessarily make sense on that side of everything. This is where I think a lot of people do get some flack on this this particular pay-per-view, is that a lot of these matches didn't really match the stories that they had been going with. They, like, in the terms of their stories, they made no sense with where they were going on that side of everything. But yes, it does do what they needed to do. Charlotte should be out of the title picture now. We should be getting a new number one contender to the SmackDown Women's title. And we'll see where they go with everything on this one. So, this brings us to what was not the main event of the night. After seeing the finish, I'm kind of okay with that. It was Shinsuke Nakamura going up against AJ Styles for the WWE title in a no disqualification match. And again, this is one of those matches. It was like, this was better than the Mania match. This was better than the Greatest Royal Rumble match, in my mind. Sure, I'll answer a question. Go ahead and throw it on there. I'll continue going with everything, and then I will get to the question right after that, Batman. So, on with the Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles match. This, like I said, I thought it was better than their WrestleMania match. I thought it was better than their Greatest Royal Rumble match. these matches do continue to get better and better for each one. They're giving us a little bit more in each match. I think that's the aspect of what they're going for, is that these are not the blow-off matches. Not every single one of them has to be a 5-star classic to go along with everything. I think we're still going to get that. You had little usage of the no disqualification rules, which I'm absolutely okay with. The aspect that they only used one chair throughout the entire match was a nice little touch, and that was the main focal point of a portion of the match. That, you know, they got the chair in there, Shinsuke does the exploder suplex onto there, and then you get this wicked spot where he's going to do the Kinshasa, and then AJ Styles saboos it to like just chucks the chair Sabu style at Shinsuke. But then this is where they get the little bit from there's a little extra bit to that. It's like, yeah, he hits Shinsuke with it, but the chair ricochets back and you see like the top of the chair just hit AJ Styles right in the cheek, and it was brutal looking. They do kind of effectively say that AJ Styles, which you kind of expected him to wear a cup in this one, but apparently not. But you have this series towards the end where Nakamura hits the low blow. AJ Styles immediately hits one in return. They have to stumble back to their feet. Did I ever hear... I'll get to that one. I will get to that one. But they have to stagger back to their feet. And they kind of, you know, fighting a little bit back and forth. They kind of stare as like they kind of turn around at one point, and both of them end up kicking each other with a low blow at the same time, and both are down, and they can't answer the referee's 10 count. Guess what? Even in no disqualification matches, countouts can happen. There's been precedent for this in the past. Yes, we're fans angry at that. Yes, but I'm on the firm belief that this match was not supposed to be the one with the satisfying ending. And yeah, this is true. They were not, this was not the match that had the satisfying ending. I'm actually okay with this one, because I felt like this match, like their matches have been getting particularly better each time. And I'm looking forward to another one here down the line to go with it. So, we'll see where they go with this. Did I ever hear... Okay, so I'm going to answer this question from Batman, who's in the chat right now. And then we'll go on to the last two matches of the night. So, did I ever hear about a bad rumor... did I ever hear about a bad rumor about Charlotte? I don't know. What bad rumor? I know they had the whole leaked photos that you can find on that people found online where somebody hacked her phone. But other than, I mean, that's not really that bad of a rumor, unless of that knee injury last night was a legitimate thing, which, you know, she was kind of playing it up after the match, and they didn't really keep her on camera too much afterwards either to go along with it. So there is a potential that knee injury was a legitimate thing, but otherwise, I really haven't heard about a really bad rumor on Charlotte for anything. At least nothing that I've read. So I don't know. We'll find out. I guess I could do a little bit more reading into it, or you can kind of maybe throw it out there into the chat, Batman. But I haven't heard anything about it. And yes, AJ Styles and Shinsuke was a no DQ match. That's why the low blows didn't cause a disqualification. Yeah, there were some people saying some mean things about it. It is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, that was pretty much the only thing about the rumor on Charlotte, is that they had leaked some unsavory, somebody had hacked her phone and she had some unsavory pictures on there. Woo. That's my thought process about it. It's like, okay, she happened to have some not PG friendly photos on her phone of herself. So it is what it is at that point in time. But that's kind of like my thought process to that. It's like not a big deal in my mind to go along with it. But let's get into the last two matches. Oh yeah, it is extremely sad because everything I've seen from Charlotte, she's an extremely kind person. She seems like she's like she seems like a big sweetheart. If you've seen interviews with her, she's like a very very kind person in person. So it is crappy when people kind of talk badly about the whatever those photos that she had. I haven't seen them, so I don't know. I really don't know at that point in time. But let's continue on with the show. This one goes into up next. I'm kind of losing my train of thought here for a brief second. So this goes into actually the tag match before the main event, which was Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman going up against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And again, this is another interesting match of where's this story going again? Because because Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have been best buds, but then Sami Zayn kind of tries to run from Kevin or run away from the match. Kevin says, "No, we gotta fight, and then Sami Zayn throws him into the ring, and then where was this going? Somebody asked me where this one was actually going. Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman do go over after the delayed vertical suplex. That delayed vertical suplex is a good power spot and a good setup spot. I wouldn't mind seeing Bobby Lashley bring back the Dominator if he really wanted to on this one. Not gonna lie to you. I'm also interested to see what they really want to do with Bobby Lashley because he really hasn't done much of anything since coming back other than be teaming up with Braun Strowman and kind of being like, I don't even think he's really had a promo. He really hasn't had a promo. And if you listen to his stuff in Impact Wrestling, it's actually pretty good. I wouldn't mind seeing him turn heel and seeing them maybe do something with him and Braun. It would be nice. At least I think it would be nice. I don't know on that case of everything. But after the match, Braun Strowman hits the running power slam to Kevin Owens in semi-heelish fashion. I guess they were trying to do the whole aspect of everybody loves just seeing him do destruction. Seeing him like do some kind of destructive spot after the match, but no one seemed to really care here. You could tell the crowd was lost throughout most of it, especially after the AJ Styles Shinsuke Nakamura match as well. They were kind of lost. The bit where Strowman just continually gets the hot tag and then runs around just catching people and destroying things is really good. It's a money spot. I like it. I hope he keeps it for a while. To go along with that. But overall, again, match was there. Really didn't serve much of anything, and it was okay. It was fine. By the way, at this point in time in the show, it's gone 3 hours to go along with that. So you have up next the main event, which was Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe. Started off really good. It did. I like the whole aspect of Samoa Joe kind of, sucker punching Roman Reigns and beating him down before the match even starts with the whole Uranagi inside of the match. And then it just like, all of a sudden it's like the match starts, like officially starts, and then it kind of goes down a little bit because lo and behold, we all of a sudden get rest holds. Yes, rest holds. After that hot start, you get rest holds. This one kind of felt like it should have been a very quick-paced match throughout the entire thing, and should have actually been rather short, even to the point of maybe Roman Reigns getting the victory after catching Samoa Joe or something on that side. I mean, Samoa Joe does still look strong in the end. It does take like 2 or 3 spears to finish him. Oh yeah, and trust me, with my predictions most of the night, I was actually right, with the exception of, where was I wrong? Where was I wrong? Oh, I was wrong with the tag match with Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman. I thought that they would have put Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn over for once, but I was wrong there. Otherwise, predictions wise, I was like 6-1-1 because technically AJ Styles and Shinsuke was a draw on that side. So predictions, I did pretty good for once. Better than Mania. Better than I predicted Mania, I can tell you that much. On that side of everything. But back with this match. It started out white hot and then dragged to crawl with like a good chunk of rest spots from Samoa Joe and from Roman Reigns in this one. And it again, it's booking that didn't necessarily make sense. I'm not saying it was bad, but whomever ended up booking the match to start off that white hot and then rest holds with like little key locks and chin locks to go along with it didn't make sense. It really didn't. I thought the match itself was fine enough. Like I said, Samoa Joe does remain strong enough in this match by having to eat multiple spears to lose. But they do put Roman Reigns over in the end, even though Samoa Joe pretty much was in control most of the match again. And again, it just goes on this whole aspect of the show. The matches were fine, but the stories they had been telling going into the matches, and then the stories you get in the matches were two different things. One was more interesting in the terms of their build up to them and their stories, versus the stories you get in the match. They did not interconnect. They did not intertwine. The two different stories that you got kind of did not make sense with where they were going. They needed to eventually kind of come together, which it did not feel like they did here on this particular show. Like I said, the best match was at the beginning of the main pay-per-view. Honestly, the second best match was on the kickoff show. I'm not going to lie to you on that one. The second best match was honestly on the kickoff show with Bayley and Ruby Riott. It seemed to make sense, and they were putting in a very, very good effort into their match as well. I thought it came off really good. Seth Rollins and Miz was phenomenal. The rest of the card was kind of there. Like I said, I'm not gonna lie to you. I am during the live reactions, and I think you'll see it in there. You'll see good portions of it where me and my buddy who's there watching to go along with thoroughly entertained. But then you also do see points where we're just kind of like just sitting there like, you'll see that when those go up a little bit later today. And yeah, overall. Now, granted, we haven't had that many pay-per-views yet this year, but this is, and hopefully will be, the worst one of the year. I don't think they could do too much. They could do too much worse. I mean, I guess the only way they could technically do worse of a pay-per-view is to have boring storylines to go along with a very botchy show to go along with it. So I guess that's one way that it could possibly happen. I don't think that's going to be the case. Hopefully that's going to, like I said, this is going to be the worst one of the year at this point in time. At least that's what I'm hoping for. So when it comes to, like I said, when it comes down to everything, not a very good show for Backlash. We'll see where things go. And now we are firmly away from everything with the Superstar shakeup. So now it's going to be pretty much Raw guys versus Raw guys, SmackDown guys versus SmackDown guys. We don't have to do these intermixing matches on both shows to go along with it. And we'll see where they go along with everything here. Not a very good show for Backlash, I'm not going to lie. But when it comes down to everybody, everything, it is what it is. So with that being said, everybody, I thank you guys for watching everything as we get into the chat just a little bit more. Yeah. I guess that could be true. Then again, I'm not one of the Roman Reigns haters either. I don't really hate him. I don't particularly like him all that much, but I don't have the disdain as some other people do. But we'll see. We'll see how everything ends up going. And like I said, everyone, this is it for GodSaw's Turnbuckle for WWE Backlash pay-per-view review. I am aiming to be back with a full version of GodSaw's Turnbuckle next week for a full actual podcast where we go through news, we go through Raw, SmackDown, and NXT again, and kind of have a little bit of fun getting things back into it once again. So hopefully that comes back next week for you guys. We'll see how everything ends up working out. And I do thank you guys for watching my review for WWE Backlash. Peace out. Take care. And have a good one, everyone.